Well, for more on the scrap deal between Walgreens and Rite Aid, we're joined by Ed Hammond, Bloomberg News Deals reporter. Ed, what happened?
So this deal has been in trouble for a really, really long time. In fact, I think we've been writing about this deal for over 2 years since they sort of first came out and agreed it. It's always been obvious that the remedies the remedies Walgreens and Rite Aid put in front of the regulators were insufficient. They've pushed back the time for getting this done again and again and again. And I think there had been a sense in the market that, look, there was a fairly good probability this wouldn't get done. Obviously, what they've come out with today is quite interesting, because they've said, we're going to do the deal, but we're just going to do it in this massively revised terms. So we're actually only going to buy a small proportion of the stores rather than buying the whole company. Really interesting question now is what happens to the rest of Rite Aid? What happens to the rest of Rite Aid? Well, they could potentially go and sell themselves if they can find another buyer. I mean, I suppose there are other people in the market who could take a look at this. It's not obvious immediately that someone like CVS would want to come in for them. They could do some scenario where they would break the company up and sell it off in packages, but that would be messy. It would also take a very long time. But it's going to be interesting. You have a now much reduced Rite Aid in the market. You have a much bigger Walgreens. And you sort of redrawn the map, but in a way that wasn't obvious when this all started out. I mean, part of this feels a little ripe for private equity. Is this something that you're hearing that would ever occur? It's a space they do like to play in, and it's very possible that you could see a sponsor come into this market. The other thing here that's interesting is Fred's, which was going to be the main beneficiary of this deal in terms of divestitures. They had already agreed before any of this happened that if the deal went through, they would pick up a substantial number of stores that would be divested out of this merger. Obviously, that's not going to happen now. You've seen their shares absolutely tank this morning on that news, because they are now left in this position where they were going to be bigger, they were going to get suddenly the scale that would make them relevant. They're no longer going to get that. They remain slightly irrelevant, therefore, and the market is not loving them for it.